All right. Good afternoon, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson, Results Staffing. Have a little problems there in the beginning. Hey, a couple great subjects today, and you know the drill. I'll be right back after this message. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Dave Wilson, the Results Staffing. It's Friday, right? It's HR's. The HR departments are so happy on Fridays, and then Sunday nights they're miserable. That's the truth. They don't want to go back to work with staffing, and that's the way it is. Hey, listen, a couple things I wanted to talk to you about today is a lot calmer than what happened this week was what I told you before, when the corporation had reached out in Allentown and they told us their company wasn't performing, that they utilize. And that VP was very saying, can you do it? Can you do it? And, send over the proposal right away. And he pays $8 more an hour or whatever, great markup, good credit, $20,000 a week in payroll funding. That was good. So, spent all day, we worked on it and, sent it over to him, and we started advertising right away. Picked up some candidates. I knew it had to be quick. Did social media, LinkedIn, holy crow, job boards. We did everything, and we didn't hear anything from him. And then they emailed us back, and he told us that their stamping company, all of a sudden stepped up. When you look at that, I'm a lot calmer than it was a learning experience to never have that happen to me again. And it won't. That company there in Allentown, I would never staff for them. And I will tell people that. I will tell people the company's name when I talk to them, because they reached out to multiple staffing companies. And what happens there is everybody gets all excited and, hey, you can pick up. It's a great company. The reviews are good. And, but he did wrong. He did it wrong. He, instead of probably ending the assignment with his staffing company now that he utilizes, that all of a sudden within a day and a half they just increased. They picked up all of a sudden all the orders, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that one bit. I don't believe that he even looked at that proposal. He was just calling around, and as a VP, he should know better, because what happens there is your name, and I told you before, you burn bridges. A couple of those staffing companies will never staff for you. I'm pretty sure, but most of the time, the corporate ones, they'll just give in and they'll go ahead and do that. But what happens is the candidates that we reached out to, it was very embarrassing to speak with them and tell them. But I told them the truth. I said, this was the company's name. And, this was the gentleman's name that said, no, it wasn't me. Because I want to base results, and I've told people before, on honest integrity and just being truthful and being straight up. Don't bull. It's not worth it anymore. Not the way with COVID. That VP not only affected the 10 people, but he affected a lot of things right there by a bad decision. And I'm going to say it. It's a bad decision. He made one. And if you have a staffing company right now as a client or corporation, and that Monday morning rolls around and candidates didn't show up, and the whole story. If they do not, you don't have to threaten the staffing companies. You don't have to threaten them with, we'll go with someone else, because I would say go for it. There's no doubt in my mind. If you were to say to me, we will utilize another staffing company, I will tell you, go for it. Because if we cannot do it, and I say this respectively with the social media, listen, we can find the candidates in the logistics field using social media, and even middle management. You can, if you play it right. But I would say no, and I would say go for it. You can find somebody better right now, because if you reached out to 3 to 4, listen, everybody's in that same boat. I know you had a big project and you got all excited, and you were like, ooh, all excited, and your staff, and how you going to do it. We don't struggle like that. If you're not into it for the staffing like this, whew, a roller coaster ride, something's wrong, because some of the candidates or clients today will reach out to staffing companies on a Friday. It's 2:00. They'll say we need 15 people for Monday. That ain't happening anymore. Unless you work the weekends, I would tell you, to be honest, I said, well, I'll reach out to some of the candidates I have up to 5 or 6 o'clock at night, but I'm not going to staff like that. You can pull it. You can be honest. You don't want to say, yes, we can. Not when you can't, because all weekend long, you're going to be like, oh boy, I just sent a body. That's all you did was send a body. So on that note, it goes both ways. Things are different now. You need to trust the staffing agency that you work with. You need to give them the benefit of the doubt. You need to both talk weekly, at least twice a week, to see what the problems are. Because when I talked the other week about retention, think about it. Retention, what is it? Your candidates are leaving over this weekend. They will leave. This is the perfect time to recruit this weekend because of the football games, and that's when we'll be running our ads. You got to put, when they're playing football, put your ads on there during it. Schedule your ads to go out during halftime. Schedule them to go out during the beginning of the game, an hour before, and you'll see success. Set your Texas campaign. Texas is a great company. Constant Contact is great. Duck and Owl for video screening, video resumes. That is the time. And LinkedIn, post it on LinkedIn, because a lot of the time everybody's around family, but they're looking at that cell phone. They're picking it up. They're constantly, they don't stop. Even if the football, they'll slow you down, but as soon as it's commercial, everybody picks up their phone. So this is a game changer this weekend. So don't back off of that. But the exit interviews, I don't think I followed up on them as I should have in my prior company, because if you see multiple candidates leaving, and then you look at the reviews, I know reviews it's always negative, but not always. I look for in a review on a company, if it's the same thing, like say 10 things the same, but then you have 5 good ones. But if it's the same thing, that this supervisor treated this person, this supervisor did this supervisor did that, that's your red flag. That's when you need to say, okay, what's going on with this supervisor? And you have to have that hard discussion. You need to have discussion with the company. Don't worry about whether they're going to be mad. Listen, I would be the same way. I used to feel like, oh, I don't want to, I'll ignore it. You know what? I didn't want to have that hard conversation. But now you need to have that discussion. You have to have that open teamwork to get through this year here. These next 6 months are still going to be, because now that the PUA and all that extra $300 is coming, and then the $1,400, let me tell you, they're going to stay home. Why work? You're going to be in the same boat again. You're going to be short candidates. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to improve your candidate flow? Listen, if you were to ask us, Dave, can you provide us 25 candidates? I'd rather have 10 and find 10 quality and charge. You're going to pay more. Listen, that's a great sales part, but our markup's a little bit higher because you're going to get good candidates. Not all of them are going to be spot on. You can't guarantee that. But if you want a candidate that's got 1 or 2 years, you're going to get a candidate that has 1 or 2 years. If you want somebody that's, a strong work record, you're going to get a strong record. Now, that person, that VP in Allentown, he just wanted bodies. He didn't care. Not at all. I knew the tones of his voice saying, we just need something's better than nothing. I think that's what was said like that. Something's better than nothing. That really makes sense. That should have been a red flag right there for me, but something's better than nothing. We'll get ahead. So look at that and figure out how you're going to slow it down, that retention. What are you going to do to help? Listen, money's not all of it. When candidates call here, logistics side, when they're calling, listen, they're just calling. They can move from job to job to job. $14, $15. $15 is a middle range right now for logistics. Now, I did put a report out for customer service, right? And that's all your admins. Look at that on LinkedIn there. You're going to be surprised. And a gentleman from People Share, one of them reached out to me. I forget his name. And I sent to him. It's the insights, but it's pretty good. Listen, I told you before, is it accurate? Probably not but it gives you a really good pattern. And you can see, if you watch that, I will send it to any company that wants it. If you message me and say, hey, Dave, can you send those reports? I'll run them for you. I don't care. If you're another staffing company and you don't have access to that, message me. That's what I did this morning. I don't care. I got them in a folder. I'll just send it to you on LinkedIn. It's really good to look at the companies that are struggling, or the hardest areas, like Brenningsville. Brenningsville, PA is a tough area to staff. But what I want to say about Brenningsville is utilizing the social media. That's where you need to be in there, because I always love Nestle Waters. Chris Heckman, he's been good to me. Nestle Waters in Brenningsville has been good to me. I'm still drinking Chris. I'm still drinking Great Value water, hint, hint. But if you're a forklift driver and you want to make, say, $23 an hour, and this is going to, right now, this is streamlining all the way across. So I would be up there saying, hey, everybody, Dave Wilson, Results Staffing for Nestle Waters out here. It's full-time, no staffing company. Go see Chris Heckman. He'll take care of you. Water, nobody runs out of. $23 an hour for a forklift driver, 12-hour shifts, every other weekend off. Why not? Why not? And then you got benefits, family, right? So if you're working down Nestle Way on the other companies, or in Allentown, you're only making 13, 14, and you have some experience, apply at Nestle Waters and say Chris Heckman. Just say Dave sent you for Chris Heckman. Listen, he's a great guy. I mean, he really treats the people with integrity and trust and interviews you, and you get hired. So if you're not making $24 an hour as a forklift driver and you want to have a strong record, go there. Now, if 10 people sees this on social media that just said $23 an hour and they're working for you, do you know the power of social media that they're going to go there? So over the weekend, apply at Nestle Waters in Brenningsville. Great pay. Listen, you got nothing to lose. So that's an example of staffing utilizing social media. And the live videos, there's a lot of people, I don't see as much anymore. You're not getting any traction on those postings, unless you share them to 20 different groups. I've given up on that sometimes. I put them on a couple because it's the same candidates. Listen, I'm the admin on it. Yeah, I mean, me and Bob, we're both the admins. I'm the admin on that staffing page. So I approve the ads for that. I know who's hiring, what jobs, what their pay rate. It's the same thing. Their organic reach is horrible. But now today, and that brings me into the discussion with direct hires, I'm excited because I've paired up with about 20 recruiters, in a group, and we're going to be doing direct hires, and it will be on my website. Hopefully by the end of the day. This is USA wide, every state. When you go to the careers page, it's just going to look exactly like almost Indeed or Career Builder. Top notch. It is. So once I get that and it goes through, they're working on my website. I'm going to be saying for all the professional services and everything around the whole United States, apply. Go to my website, apply for the careers, because as a group of recruiters, that's teamwork. That's a lot of great teamwork right there. So think about it. Soon, I might be back on here another hour and saying, hey, go to my website, check it out, careers. And you're going to see simple. It's not temporary. So today I had to design an ad. How am I going to get my message throughout the whole United States for my website? And it took me about an hour to do it. You don't just put it up there and say, hey, here it is. It's not going anywhere. But if you go to Ads Manager and you create that perfect ad, short, sweet, put it on stories, and I run it for like $10 a day throughout the United States. That's it. $10. A non-budget, it'll just run it's got a learning curve. You're gonna see a phase where it's called learning. Let it go. Don't touch it. Listen, a lot of the marketers for corporations, they don't know how to utilize Facebook, and it's not their problem. The majority of them don't, because they'll just boost it, put $1,000 on it, and out the door it goes. You get nothing. You'll get some, but you really have to bring someone in that's an expert on social media. Pay them to come in for a couple hours. I'd be willing to come. I don't care if it's another staffing company here. Listen, consulting, come on down and just look at your page and make sure it's right. A lot of the marketers and corporations, they just don't know. They just think post it. But when I designed this ad, it was very specific. How am I going to hit all 50 states without spending a fortune? So it took a lot of time to check off all the different, everybody knows how to do that, the demographics. I just put United States. Not sure that how it's going to go, but United States, and I did all the professional, anything with professional engineering, every single thing like that. Check out the website, check out careers, apply. It's, I don't believe it's approved yet. So you can see it's still in review right there. The first one that's green right there. It's in review. So great image. It's going to run 3 to 4 different stories. What I mean by that is the native ads go on like a website to the right-hand side. They'll show, you'll see it, but it's very effective. And it really gets you a lot of play out there. So I'm hoping by the weekend that I'll see the learning curve, let it go, and then it'll just slow down. And you could put $5, $10 a day and think about that. Think about if you're doing direct hires. Think about if you're doing, you're a company that's branched everywhere in the United States and you want them to go to your website. Go into Ads Manager and create that. There's 5 different options that you can do. You can create 5 different ads with everything about promoting your business. A lot of people say, oh, well, it doesn't work. Yes, it does. You have to be consistent. You can't just, listen, if you have 1,000 followers, right? There is no reason, and you stay consistent, that you'll succeed, because I follow all of you. I look at all the staffing companies every morning. I look at the top 10 and I see who's doing social media, and I can tell, well, they're not doing nothing. They're not going to get success because they posted 2 ads last week. Then I'll check another one. Listen, we got 1.6K and we're ahead. We're ahead of companies that have 26,000. And that, respectively, that's not bragging. That's not. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, it's because we know what we're doing. So when you have 26K and we have 1.6 and we're running ads every day, persistent, consistent, every day, you buy the software. The software is, let me tell you, if the marketers and the branch managers and even a company that doesn't utilize social media, it's a lot of red tape with corporations. They don't want to take a chance. You're not going to lose because you're posting anyway. It's great software. You can run it, give the tools to your branches and give them to your recruiters, and you're going to see the difference. You're going to see how it all comes together and how we can have more engagements, 500, 600 versus 25 on somebody that's got 26K. I know a lot of people say, well, likes don't matter. Likes really don't matter. It's what you do behind the scenes. Don't just post that job ad. You can, post the job ad, apply here, right? So you apply here and you share it, and sometimes you'll get good results. You'll get them coming in on Messenger constantly, right? But they're the same people. If you want to reach totally different audience, all right, a total different audience, utilize Ads Manager. FacebookBlueprint.com. I've said it over and over and over. FacebookBlueprint.com. Listen, when I see a billboard for a company that's hiring, right? I look at that and I don't get it. Don't get it. Because if you took $1,000, I'm sure that was a couple grand, right? And you hired someone or yourself, really studied it, developed your ad. Let's just say Amazon. They're big, they're huge. If they have the money anyway, but let's just say if they were a little bit smaller, you don't need that billboard there. Who are you trying to show? It's 1990s, 1980s. They still work. Let's face it. You see it. Well, yeah, they're hiring, but you take that money and you really target these little towns, because I love when somebody says to me, we enjoy that. Oh, you'll never find someone. Sometimes I hear that. You'll never find them. I love that challenge. We love it because we want to try to prove it wrong. Because if everybody says, well, there's nobody up there, take out a map, atlas, look online, look at those don't just put Allentown, put something else, look around within that 25-mile radius, put another city, put something in there, right around a little town, something. And you're going to hit some extra people that have never heard of you before. Priceless. You're going to pick up candidates, and that could just break that cycle. It could just break that candidates going, oh my God, they just, from staffing company, I see it. I don't even know why I want to do logistics, but it's in my blood for that. I just get an adrenaline for it. Plus the direct hires now, which we're pivoting over onto that. And you got to break that circle. You got to cut it. And I've told people before, don't listen. Those candidates come in those doors. Do not hire them back. That only makes you look bad. I wouldn't take some. I've had some candidates that I've been in the Valley, done staffing for like 15 years, and I know who they are. And I'm like, they say, want to give me one more chance. And no, past behavior is the same as now. They don't change. I'll always say, hey, come back to me, 6 months. See if you hold a job. You hold a job, then maybe I'll give you another chance. But you're putting your reputation out there, just like the companies. And for companies that don't want to be on social media, that's set up wrong. You want to get your company out there. You want to promote. Now, I understand. Listen, I do as I'm told. I have 4 companies that we're staffing for. You can't utilize their name, but that's wrong. And some of the old timers, and well, they're going to utilize you for sales leads. Go for it. You can get them. There's plenty of work out there for everybody. So if you have a good company's name, like let's just say Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Nestle's, you get to say their name online, you'll get the people, you'll get them. Instead of just saying, hey, I have a hard time with that stuff. 15, 16, no background check, come in the back door, top pay 15 to 25. Come on, 15 to 25, just tell the truth. And incentive based, okay, 18 to 20, incentive based. Put incentive based. So that way the candidate knows that you got to work hard to make that rate. That's all it takes is telling the truth. Put your job out there. Put the company's name on it. You'll see a big difference. But a lot of companies say, well, then you don't want them showing up at your door. The majority of logistics all the companies around here, nobody really does that anymore. They don't show up at your door. You might have a few, but you can't even get into most logistics companies, the security. It's great for people that are really looking for a job, and they'll take that test. And I got to tell you, if somebody gets into the office there and says, hey, I'm looking for a job, I'm going to put some paperwork in front of him and try to hire him, because that means he's attempting, or they're attempting for work. You got to give them credit. Or if they're calling you, answer them back. Knock on doors. That's what but it doesn't so much happen on social media like that. It's about getting your name out there. Coca-Cola is hiring. Wow. I've heard they're a good company. If you're a crappy company and you got bad reviews and nobody wants to work there, I wouldn't put it out there then, because they're going to be like, oh, hell no, because your company takes a toll on the staffing agency, because there's some companies we won't even touch. Get out of here. No way. We know what it's like, the high turnover. You got 5, 6 companies in there. Well, they're not producing because you say they're not doing it. Maybe because you can't. If I was to walk into another place, besides I know like some of these bigger companies need 5. You can't make it without it. But if you go to a smaller company, you can utilize that. So stay the course with it. Try to keep your name on social media, get it going, get it out there. Put your culture, company culture. You hear a lot about that. Well, do something about it. Put on there just an ad about your company, what you offer, not just the hourly rate, just an ad of what you offer. You'll have them applying. you'll attract. You're going to get candidates right now. I have some great candidates, and I don't understand. This is the whole thing that's not, it's aggravating sometimes, but I'm so used to that we have candidates, but yet we don't send them to everywhere because I don't have them. We don't have the sites. We see where they're needed. We'll reach out. No, we're okay. Even the companies, if you get through that gatekeeper, whatever you want to call it, that thing's old. Get rid of that saying, the gatekeeper. I'm tired of hearing that over. Get past the gatekeeper. That gatekeeper doesn't even know who you are, and the message never even half the time gets there. Go after the VPs. Don't bother HR. HR has got a lot of work now. HR don't need you, staffing companies, to constantly email them and constantly bother them all day long. Let the human resources scare the hell out of you. Let them go around and do human resource work. Let them go around, talk to the candidates on the floor, your employees. Let the HR, solve some issues. Why should they be the ones that do the logistics proposals? And they don't care. They're upset. They look so stressed out in logistics. I'm sorry. They are. They're hardworking, and they keep getting work put on them. And that defeats the purpose, because I believe no HR human resource director went to school to recruit. Maybe I'm wrong. You tell me. You can message on here and say, no, I went to school for human resources and they taught me all about recruiting. So I'm going to be a recruiter. I'm going to learn how to do sales. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. It does not. If you allowed human resources to talk to people, maybe you could control some of the retention problems, because we hear it in the staffing companies that we're just a number, nobody cares. And we had a great guy, a manager of a regular corporation, and the one time when he took over, they were having their company picnic, and the temporary people never were invited. So he said to me, he's like, Dave, he's like, aren't they going? I'm like, no, they don't get invited. We don't go. And he's like, what? That man went ahead. He's like, oh, heck no. You're all going. So we shut down. We all went. And you should have seen those guys, the crew, that staff there, that can really change, because he's like, wait a minute here. They're part of our success. If it wasn't for the staffing companies, you wouldn't be successful. If you make the staffing companies mad or irritated, they don't staff for you. Those recruiters, they'll blow it off. They'll be like, let them. They want 50 people. Good luck with that. They don't care. I mean, they care, but they want to send them knowing that you're going to just lay them off within 2 days. You'll send the candidates there, and then you send them home after 3 days for no work. Come on. Those days are over. Because with all this $1,400, I'm telling you, and all this stuff, you wait, next month is going to be one of the hardest months to staff for in the staffing company. And unless you say, we want bodies. Now, when you even say that, we want bodies, what does it mean? We want bodies. That's really professional. Just send me anybody. That is why you're not successful. You are not, like, we pride ourselves on saying staffing done differently. I'm going to say it again, staffing done differently. Think about it. What does that mean? It means we're trying different things. Like right now, we're pivoting to another company right now, where we're going to be dealing with all these single recruiters. We're all going to be working together, and it's going to be awesome. Why? Because we think and change. Because a lot of companies will say no. But I want to give an example of that company in Allentown, right? When it fitted his need, when it fits the corporation's need, respectively, when it fits your need, okay, bring on 5 other companies right now. Go get them. Okay? And you can get that proposal done in 1 day. You can get everything all done. Start sending them Monday. That's pretty fast. And that's pretty damn good. Look what you did. Why did you do it? Because it fitted your needs. And it doesn't fit ours. A lot of them will say, well, your staffing companies are very expensive. Cost. Do you know how much? I will show you anybody. If you're a VP of a company, message me. I'll send you a great P&L. I'll show you honestly what you make. And you're going to be like, whoa, I've heard some people say, well, that's your problem. And I'm like, oh no, that's our problem. You will not be successful without us. If our recruiters don't work hard for you, you don't get results. You'll sit back and you'll just, oh, well, they're no good. That company is no good. They don't send people. Sometimes you got to look back on how you treat the staffing companies. How do you come across to them, and how do you come across to the candidates? Because if you come across of just come on, bring them in, and you're not open, you're not, I like one leader over at NFI, and he's a good friend, colleague, and we talk a lot. And he even says there's no difference when you look out on that floor who's a temporary person and who is full-time. He treats, doesn't even say the word. He talks. He doesn't say, all the temps stand over here, all that. He does not do that. As a leader, he leads the staff, the crew. Simple. You lead, they follow. They don't follow, then you start going through a process. Go through a process when you're letting somebody go. And this is the last subject. Letting somebody go is go through the process. A lot of the times, call up and that candidate's assignment. Why? We don't like his attitude or her. You don't like their attitude. So we have to call that candidate at home. Don't go back. Why? Well, make up some story, but you won't tell them that they said they don't like your attitude. You don't say that. You don't say you don't like them because they're just, they're angry or they don't talk much. There is a process. And if HR, this is where HR should really be watching. HR needs to really get involved of how the staff is treated. If they didn't have to handle staffing, they would be able to sit with those candidates and say, what's going on? Because there is such thing as, just hear this, this is a verbal. Okay. Please don't do this again, and explain why. Okay. Written. Okay. Now you've brought them back, say, listen, we've told you, what do we need to give you to do this? But we're going to have to give you a written warning, something like that, in that category. But you have to change. All right. They sign it. Now, and this falls into a category of if it's not something like unsafe, or you should utilize this, the same thing with staffing candidates, because then the final warning. Okay. Listen, this is your final warning. Please let us know. I liked one company that Pete was really good. I liked their philosophy of when they wanted the candidates to succeed, because after 90 days, they got hired. And what was nice about that is we had to go up to a meeting all the time, every week. And they would put up on the screen all the candidates, all of them, and talk about, look, where's this candidate at? What's going on? And what I liked about that is, like he said, was we don't want them to fail. If you can't change them and get them to get to their numbers and find out maybe they're struggling. Just because, like he would say, just because they didn't terminate them right away, because that turnover was hard. That turnover to bring forklift drivers in and train with a trainer, orientation, classes, that could have been cut way back, like he said, but they wanted them to succeed because that really helped the company, because you brought them on. But if you don't give them a reason, how do you think they're going to feel? Are they going to walk out that door and say, well, this company, blah, 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 blah? But there's always two sides. Did they warn you? Did they give you a written warning? Did they go ahead and give you a final warning and then let them go? You could stop. If HR got involved, HR, like I said, if HR knew what was going on in some of the logistics centers, they might be surprised. They'd be like, whoa, what do you mean? Yeah, just end 10. Pick 10. Though these are the days that if you want, listen, we have ideas. It's not always going to work. Not a lot. But change the process. Let it run for a couple weeks, just like what we're doing now. We're jumping into a territory which we're excited. Again, I'm going to be back on when it goes live. But don't be afraid to change the process and see the results in 3 to 4 weeks. You're not going to see them in a week. You're not going to see them in 2 weeks, but you should see something getting better. And then you always have a meeting afterward and say, what's happening? because a lot of the companies that I see, some of them are good, some of them are just I would never send candidates to because I know how they treat their employees. Now, listen what I just said. I know there's about 6 companies I would never, even though I staff for them, that I would never send those candidates to because I don't like them. Simple. They treated the people horrible. They would, right at the time clock, say, "Oh yeah, don't punch out. You got to work another 4." And people would walk out, and it was just a bunch of things. But that is what I'm talking about, the company culture. What did they learn from that? When you showed up, "Oh, go home. Pick up a broom for 4 hours," because we charge 4 hours. Listen, if you're going to send one of our candidates home before when they walk in, you're going to pay 4 hours fine. So why not keep the candidate working, doing something? It's better than losing them, because when you send 5 or 6 home, what do you think that's going to happen? They have families to work with, feed. They have bills. So when you sit there and just automatically in a meeting, I would be in a meeting now, today's day, being the way it is. If I was in that morning meeting, the one everybody just dreads, and you sit there and you go around the table and you give a lot of excuses. Nobody cares. The majority of them don't. I mean, you'll have 1 or 2 that really struggle, that want to say something, but they won't. They won't say it because they're afraid with their jobs. And I get that. They know the answer. When you're in that meeting, if you're that VP, everybody in that office, in that meeting, knows what's wrong. Ask them. Pull them off to the side. What's wrong with our company? Why are they leaving? You'd be surprised how many people are going to respond back, as long as you just say, and like I said in the military, I've said it numerous times, permission to speak. And when they gave you permission to speak, listen, I was 18, 19 years old. Permission to speak, sir. Permission granted. You would be able to say whatever you want because you knew that was your only time. Didn't matter how you could vent, you could scream, don't matter. He would listen, or he or she, and okay, no, or do it this way. But I get your point. So you did. You followed the rules. Simple. We were told to go here, we went. We were told to show up here, we showed up. We were told to do this job, whether we liked it or not, we did it. That's it. You do as you're told, but then you can speak your mind. Like if you're a candidate out there or a supervisor, put your ideas out there. What do you have to lose? Because I'm telling you, another month or 2, it's even going to get more difficult. I see it. So in that morning meeting, say, "Hey, does anybody have any ideas?" Permission to speak. Let's open up a great, hard discussion. Amy's always telling me, and she's a great person, manpower. See? I speak to somebody from manpower. I speak to somebody from people ready. I speak to somebody from, I'm not going to say it, but no, I speak to a lot of people in the staffing companies, and I know, they don't go around, they talk to us, and they don't say, "Hey, we speak with Dave." I get it. They can't say, well, they can say it to me, but they can't say it to their own bosses. And that's some of the problems with today is the communication. That's where it's at. If you would talk, you would learn. If you would listen. The recruiter is my prior job. They would just say, "Dave doesn't listen." "Oh, you don't listen. See, told you." I did listen, but it just took a while to get through here and out there. I always thought I was right. Not right. Well, perfect, right? But when you stepped back and you would say like, wow, I didn't think of that. They're right. But I would go back out and say, "You're right. You are right. I should have listened." But that's where it comes down to those tough discussions. And you have to do it. If you put it off, you're not going to succeed. In leadership, it's you, me, it's your companies, it's your staffing companies. If you're letting things go, when you know the problem, fix it. Don't take much. Call a meeting. You don't even have to call so many meetings. There's so many meetings anymore. I don't know how you do it with the Zooms and, is it relevant? Do you have to be there for it? Take little things at a time and let that recruiter recruit. Let that corporation, whoever's handling the supervisor, let them supervise and listen to them, because if you listen to them and it goes up the chain of command that we would call it, you're going to see a difference. And that's what I hope to share on there, is just listen. And like I said, if my website comes back up today, I'm excited. We started to pivot, and these jobs will be all the way throughout the United States of America. Every state has positions for professional services. We're excited. Looking forward to working for a whole team of recruiters for direct hires, and plus continue to do what we do here with referral fees. Listen, for staffing, real quick, if you're looking for logistics, we do a referral fee. Pretty simple. 150, 175 for a forklift driver, 75 to 100 for warehouse employee. We send them to you. We vet them. You hire them. You pay. No guaranteed. But we wouldn't send you. Listen, if we can't find them, we're not sending them to you. I'm not just going to send you bodies, because then you're going to say, Dave, you're just as worse as the rest of them. But we won't do that. We don't guarantee the candidate, but we try to help. So, all right. On that note, everybody, I got to get going. I got training in an hour here. So everybody have a great weekend, and I'll be back if we get that website up and running. Talk to everybody soon.